Hello friends, in this video I'm going to show you how to take the Folksy Florals Templates borders and use them with lettering. I'm going to show you how to take existing lettering and impose it onto your template, or how to use grids and guides to create that lettering from scratch. I'm going to be highlighting Barnard and Stefan Kunz grid brushes, which I use all the time and I think are wonderful. They are a separate product that you can buy from them. I will be using those as well as from scratch lettering so that you can have all the tools you need to letter and use the Folksy Florals templates. To start off this video, we're going to download one of the frame options that come with Folksy Florals. So if I go to the square frames, I'm gonna do, you can choose which one you want. I think I'm gonna do square frame 1. So I'm gonna click on the Procreate one, so it downloads it. And it is all ready to go. So these frame options have the flowers just along the outside so that you can use the middle to do lettering, or you could use it for a to-do list, you could use it for a wedding announcement or a birthday announcement, invitations, anything like that. It's pretty wide open to the options that you can achieve. So first off, we're going to add a new layer, pull that one beneath our template layer, turn down the opacity on our template layer, and we're going to draw our florals on that new layer. We need to turn on the drawing assist so that the symmetry will work, and then we can go ahead and do our florals. Okay, I created those florals relatively quickly, just for the sake of the tutorial. But now that I have my border all complete, it's ready to put something in the middle. If I just wanted to do a single word, I could come and make a new layer, find a good lettering brush. Let's see, it's a good one. Decide on my color, and I could write something like, let's make that a little bigger. Be something as simple as that, just writing fall. Or you can do a whole quote or composition in the middle. So you can create that composition yourself if you feel confident in that. If you are a little wary on how to best create a composition for your lettering, I like to use these grid builder brushes from Barnard and Stefan Kunz, and they just have a bunch of shapes and grids that you can use to create really wonderful lettering with. So you can take their brushes. I usually like to do them in a gray, just like I have my Folksy Florals brushes. Can stamp it, kind of resize it to fit, have it line up in the middle there. I can use those guidelines that are there from the symmetry to help me put it directly in the middle. If I look at those little dots, I can line those up with that grid. And then I could do, let's see, what other shapes do I want to add to this? Maybe just some straight ones. So since I did these on the same layer, I'm not going to be able to just grab that top grid and move it around like I could with the bottom one. So I'm going to need to take my little S selection tool, draw around that rectangle, then hit my arrow again. Then I can move it around on its own. If you do little taps to the side, it will move it in little tiny increments. You can snap to the grid. If I want those to kind of line up on the sides, I can pull those in. Okay, I like where that is. And then maybe I want the same thing on the bottom. So I can draw around it again, 3 fingers down, copy and paste. That puts it on its own layer, and I can drag that to the bottom. So I have this little Z going on in the middle there. now I'm going to, since that's now on 2 separate layers, since I copied and pasted that one, I'm gonna merge down. So now all of my grid is on the same layer. And I'm gonna turn down the opacity and make a new layer and pull it down beneath those grids. Something that you might want to do if you're feeling a little overwhelmed with how many layers you have going on is to tap and then drag to the side all of your floral layers and group them. So now you know that your frame, you're not accidentally gonna draw anything on your frame layers, your floral layers. So you could rename that frame. And now we have our grid here and our new layer. You could also rename this grid if that makes it easier for you. Okay, so now on this new layer, we can start doing some lettering. I like to use the small round pencil from my favorite pencil brushes Procreate set to do my sketching. Okay, I found a quote that I like, and it's autumn skies and pumpkin pies. Well, I'm thinking I want the and to be here in the middle, but that's a pretty big box to use just for the word and. So I'm gonna turn up the opacity again on my grid so I can see it a little bit better. And on that grid layer, I'm going to select around this box and make it much smaller so I can put my little and right there in the middle, and I can still use those guides to line it up in the middle. Okay, and then I can bring down these other 2 boxes so that they're closer to the and. All right, that looks better. Now I'm gonna turn that opacity back down and I can start sketching on my new layer. And from this point, I will once again turn down the opacity on my sketch. I could rename this sketch. And I'm gonna do another new layer, pull it underneath the sketch. Now I could go in and hand letter this and really make each stroke my own, or I can use a lettering brush. I think I'm gonna use a lettering brush just to make it a little bit faster for myself. I'm all about trying to streamline, so I'm gonna use this brush. Find a good color, maybe turn that down a little bit. And come in here and start doing my lettering. Now that I have that lettering in, I'm gonna add in those little florals that I sketched in, and I'm gonna do them in the similar style to how I did the rest of the frame, using this funky liner from my Folksy Florals set. If you're too lazy to draw it on the other side and you know you want to flip it onto the other side, you can do 3 fingers, copy paste. It will immediately take you to this screen, flip horizontal, and you can just pull it over. And then I also want to flip vertical since I'm kind of having this come in a wave out of the and. Okay, then I can turn off my grid and my sketch, see how things are lining up. This pumpkin pies feels a little bit further away than the autumn skies. So I'm gonna go back on to my lettering layer, draw around the pumpkin pies, and pull that up a bit. Maybe that was a little bit too much. Let's get out of that, go back. That's a little better. So now I have this lovely piece that I can print off to put up in my home. I can put it on Instagram. I could, you could do this for if you're a social media person, like a manager, and you need something for a client, you could use this for your client. Anything like that. It's just a great way to spice up your lettering a little and give it a different look that's not just the lettering sitting in the middle of the page. I hope this tutorial was helpful and that you now feel more confident in your lettering skills as well as how to use the Folksy Florals templates with your lettering. I really tried to make these products so that you can use them in many different scenarios, and hopefully that you can see that through this tutorial. Have a great day.